Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 121 for Tuesday, the 24th of May, 2022. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby 360G, and joining me on this very fine evening is
Alex, Nintendo Arcade, bringing you everything arcade and retro.
It's number one Stuntmaster.
And Sensei Switch.
Wow, we've got a decent crew tonight. I mean, I know obviously we've lost Nick for a few weeks, and I was a little bit worried that it's just going to be me and Darren just holding down the fort. But we've got
So are the
Stunty.
listeners.
Well, yeah. But we've got Stunty, which is awesome. It's always to have Stunty back. It's great. And Alex, who hasn't been on in absolutely ages, our very own retro arcade collector. Nintendo Arcade.
It's been years, couple of years. I'm trying to think the last time I was on.
It's been ages.
It must be at least 2-3 years, maybe more.
Yeah.
I'm
still listening to it. It's just like it's been last 3 years for me. Have just been crazy, mate. You know,
You had a big move.
I had a big move. Then I broke my arm, snapped that in half.
Oh yeah,
And
and
then,
you
yeah.
fell off your ladder, didn't you?
Fell off my ladder getting a Mega Drive out of the loft. Can you believe it?
Oh.
Is that what it was?
It was, yeah.
Oh no.
Well, before
Well,
you
what it
fucking
was-
Nintendo owner, fuck you.
My partner slipped her disc that day, and I was working in London, and she just could not move. And I said, "Well, I'm coming back." I literally drove all the way to London, and then literally drove all the way back, and she couldn't get out of bed. And I thought I'd just give her the space, and I thought I'd come down here in the games room, which wasn't
Yeah.
finished then at the
Yeah, we're going to
time.
give her one.
Whee.
Really filthies. And I thought I'll just sleep in here, you know, give us some space and that. But I thought I've got nothing in here. I've got a CRT, but I had nothing to play. So I thought I'll go up in the loft and get the Mega Drive out because I hadn't unpacked anything. We'd only been here like a week. And I put the ladder up. It was an A-frame ladder, and I put it up the wrong way. I should have been leant against the wall, against the building, and it wasn't. And as I crawled out of the hatch with my Mega Drive, the thing just went right over, and I just went about 9 foot.
Fucking
Right.
hell.
And landed on what?
Well, I landed on my
On his
elbow,
arm.
which
Oof.
snapped my humerus bone in half.
Oh.
And were
And
you
as I
able
got
to...
up,
Yeah.
the thing just swung round like a fucking puppet's arm.
Oh, mate. Oh, you give me the heebie-jeebies. Whoa.
Oh no! It does. It gave me. I mean, I was in total shock. You know, the weirdest thing is you can't
Start feeling
control
ill.
your arm, but you can control your fingers. It was the weirdest sensation I've ever been through.
Oh, that sounds
Anyway, moving
horrible.
on.
Oh, I feel really
Good to be
grossed out, man.
Sorry, guys.
How were you able to... Did you have your phone on you to ring the hospital? You know,
Well, that was it, because Nush was inside with her mum, and I couldn't get up. I thought, I can't lay here any longer. I was already down for about 5 minutes. I had to get up, so I managed to get myself up, carry my arm down the end of the garden, and I literally was headbutting the window, saying I fucking broke my arm. And she called the ambulance. The ambulance man turned up and he said, "What'd you move here for?" I'm like, "What the fuck's it to you, man? I've got a broken arm."
What?
Why,
That's random.
Do you live in the middle of nowhere then?
We are a little bit. It's a funny little place where we are, but it was just an odd thing to say when I'm sitting there, white as a ghost, and sweating buckets of water.
Yeah.
It's like you just moved to Silent Hill or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, one road in, it's like, I can't get out.
Population 5.
Well, anyway, I mean, cut a long story short, I mean, all through COVID, they wouldn't see me, and then fucking finally, I pushed them to operate because it wasn't healing.
Right.
9 months, my arm was in a sling. My muscles started to deteriorate, and I got them to operate, and they cut me open, put a massive bar in there with about 7-8 screws, and it's still not great. I've only got about 40% mobility with it still. It's fucking crap, really.
Wow.
You know, and I haven't really been working much because of it. But
Oh, really? All right.
No, not really, mate. No, it's done me in a little bit, really. You know, I was quite a strong guy.
Obviously, strain it, so you're probably worried about overexerting it as well. And
yeah, it's just certain movements it won't do. It's like they cut through the tendons or done something there because the tendons are all out of sync, and I can feel it's just got no power. Literally,
Right.
all my power, that arm's gone.
Wow.
You know, it's like I can lift like bars. Like if you're moving your arm up and down, I can do that action. But if you say like you're trying to grab a box from its sides, and
Yeah.
lifting a box up, I can't push against the box to lift it up. Do you know what I mean? It's like a robot picking an object up. It just won't do it. It just slips out because I just can't do that pushing inwards action. It just won't have it. So, you know, I'm learning to live with it a bit. Just got to get on with it, haven't you,
has it
really, at the
affected
end of
your
the day?
gaming at all, or is it all
Nah,
right?
man, fucking hell, I'm doing more gaming than ever.
That's good.
That's reasonable then, because that would have been horrendous if it ruined that. Like,
Well, the only game I would say it did affect was Robotron, because it was a twin stick shooter, and I found like the right stick. I used to yank that cab around really hard. Now I kind of tweak the sticks. You know, I play it differently than I used to. You know, and the only game I could play when I was still playing games with my arms snapped in half, I was playing Defender for like a whole year. Got really good at Defender. So I was playing that, but yeah, no. Other than that, man, I mean, been playing loads of Switch games. Got PS4 since I last saw you. Been into all sorts of shit we're getting to.
Nice.
Yeah.
good.
You don't have the Red 10 anymore, do you?
No, mate, sold that.
What's the Red
Yeah,
10?
Too much space up.
What's the Red 10?
Well, because it was the two.
Well,
two.
It was a Nintendo Versus system. Nintendo brought out a Versus system in the arcade, so you could play opposite each other. So you could play Balloon Fight against each other.
Oh, I remember playing Balloon Fight with you on that machine, actually.
Yeah, you came around my house and played it. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got rid of it.
The only reason I mention it is because Alex used to rip the shit out of it. You know, he used to be like fucking arm wrestling with it. So that's why. That's why I asked. Have you still got that to play? But
no, I sold it because the footprint of that was 4 cabs. You know, because once you've got a person either side of it, it's literally the space of 4 cabs.
I love to.
And I thought, well, they're all NES games anyway. I can play them on the NES, so I got rid of it. And now I've got, I can go through my collection a bit later, but I've got a nice collection.
We'll go through it now, man. Tell us about you, because I've got a video up, one of your YouTube videos up at the moment where you're doing you're playing all the games in your game room, and you look like you've got quite a few more arcade machines than you had before, and a few different ones as well now.
Yeah, I feel like I'm quite content with what I've got now. I think I've got a nice array of different cabs. I've got Super Hang-On, Sega's Super Hang-On, which is a fantastic game. I never thought I'd get into a driver, but that is a brilliant game, honestly. And I've restored that cab, and that looks like minty fresh now.
Is that like a standing up one with just the handlebars?
It's the standing up one, which is easier to play than the sit down one.
Yeah.
So that's new. I've got an Asteroids Deluxe, which I found in a reclamation yard in Frome, and it turned out it belonged to the manager of Led Zeppelin.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
He gave it to his son for a birthday present.
Oh wow, that's
imagine getting
awesome.
that for a birthday present.
That's pretty
and his son came into the shop, into the reclamation yard, and just sold it to them. And when someone gave me a tip off that it was down there, or drove down there. Yeah, and he told me the whole story. And I managed to get. I couldn't believe it. So I actually got hold of Warren Grant, who was Peter Grant's son, on Facebook, and messaged him. And he actually got back to me and confirmed. Yeah, it was. My dad bought it for me for my birthday.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, so I got actual confirmation, which was nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's nice. I've got Robotron, Defender. I've got Sky Skipper, obviously, Sheriff, Donkey Kong. I've got an MVS Lord's Vale with loads of MVS games now. I've been getting into
Lord's
the MVS.
Vale? What's a Lord's Vale then? Explain
well, it basically looks like a jammer cab, but it's a dedicated MVS jammer cab, if you know what I mean.
So it's a NEOGEO cab.
Yes, a NEOGEO.
So that takes the big cartridges, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, at home you had the AES. In the arcade, you had the MVS NEOGEO. And I picked it up fairly cheap. And then my mate, I did a video, I don't know, last year. My mate Roger and they bought a massive load of games, over 450 games.
Wow!
I thought you found a collection of, well, not you personally, but someone you knew found a load of them, didn't they?
Well, they brought a big collection in Europe. Basically, they paid a lot of money for it, 10 grand or something. Wow. But they reckon they can double their money on it, and they already have, I think. You know, there were some good games in there, and I brought, I don't know, probably about 15 off them, something like that, because they gave me a good deal.
See, the NEOGEO I mean, the NEOGEO is a strange one, isn't it? Because like it's a machine that I never had. I know Darren had a NEOGEO. However,
a few
Darren, you're into NEOGEO, aren't you?
He is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've had about 3 AESs over the years. I've still got the NEOGEO Gold, which is kind of like the dedicated handheld. I never did buy the ones that came out recently though. That you got, Webby, like the mini arcade barcade things.
Yeah.
No. I'll tell you what I did get though recently, because Xeno Crisis.
Yeah.
It came out on the Mega Drive, didn't it? Came out on the Switch, came out on the PS4. We actually made an MVS cart and an AES cart for it as well, and I brought one of those, stuck it in the Lord's Vale. Fuck me, is that a hard game? It's just too hard.
It's really weird, Xeno Crisis, because when I saw your video on that, I was quite shocked that they'd actually made an MVS and AES cart for it, because I've actually got it on the PC. I did message you, and I've also got the cartridge for the Evercade for it. It seems like it's come out on everything, which is absolutely nuts.
I mean, I wouldn't have brought it, but the guys were at the London Gaming Market. The guys, is it a Bitmap Brothers? I think they made it.
Yeah.
They were stalling out at the London Gaming Market, and they said, look, they were going to email me, and they didn't. So I sent them a message that reminded them, and they said, yeah, we'll give you 30% off.
Oh, that's good.
So I got 30% off. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got it. But I mean, it's still an expensive cart.
Yeah.
I thought it would play better in a cab, and it doesn't really. Yeah, I think it's more of a twin stick shooter. It plays better on the Switch if you've got 2 analog sticks.
Yeah.
You know?
The other thing as well is, I think on the Switch, as well, because I got it on the Evercade. Well, I did have. I don't know if I still got it. You can actually, if you die, you can go back again and carry on from a certain section. Whereas probably on the AVS you can't. You've got to just start all beginning, like old Mega Drive games were. You know, that kind of thing.
I mean, I don't mind hard arcade games, but it's just ridiculously hard. I just can't get past the first boss. You know, it's just stupid. You know, you just don't feel like you're progressing at all.
The thing I wanted to mention about the NEOGEO though is, I don't know if I'm right on this, because it's a system that I think is very interesting. Am I right in saying that the MVS carts run on the AES? No.
Oh,
I thought you could run the arcade carts on the home console. No.
Someone has built. I think you
can. Is a converter?
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That plays both. And I've seen a few collectors have got it, because MVS carts are cheaper than AES.
Yes, right.
Because they don't come in the shop boxes with all the art and all stuff like that.
Yeah.
They just come in a shitty little cardboard box, and you have to make your own artwork up.
Right.
Yeah, with a white label on the top.
Yeah.
Right, with the game name.
Yeah, and I think just AES was more popular because it was home. But you know, if you've got an arcade cab, MVS is the way to go, because it's a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah, you just switch out the cartridges, and you can have like two or 3 cartridges plugged in at once on the board.
You can have. I've got a 4 slot. You can have up to 6 slots. I've heard the 6 slot can be a bit temperamental. It doesn't always work. So I've just got a 4 slot in mine, and it just pulls out as a drawer at the front of the cab. Just pull the drawer out.
Yeah.
Saves you pulling the cab right out. You can just swap the carts around. And you just they're just like NES carts. You just blow on them.
So
they don't work. Blow on them, and they work.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. And I've got the 2 jammer cabs as well. And I was starting to collect PCBs, but They're expensive, and it's finding people to fix them as well. So I've put 2 retro Pis in them.
Oh, right.
And they play all right.
Okay. Can you just explain to people who don't know what a jammer cab is? There's probably people listening that have no idea what that is.
So the classic arcade era is the 80s, early 80s, where you had dedicated machines for one game. Like you had Space Invaders and Pac-Man, okay? And then Jammer came in, which was a universal adapter, where it saves the operator a lot of money getting a new cabin. They could just swap the artwork over and just put a new game in.
Yeah.
So a Jammer cab was just a box, really, with a CRT in it. You might get a marquee over the top, and then you could just take the pissy about and put a new game in without changing the whole cab around. You know what I mean? So so it was just a universal adapter for a lot of the people like Namco and Taito and all the others, except Nintendo. They never used Jammer. They always had their own, but they got out of the arcades end of 85 anyway, so they weren't really in the game. But it was mainly for sort of Capcom and everybody else to sort of... Well, you do need some adapters. Some games you need an adapter. Like you need a Capcom adapter or a Konami adapter for some games, but they will work in it.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So it's just a universal cab, basically, for PCBs. And it came in at a certain... sort of towards the end of the 80s.
Right,
You'd see jam cabs everywhere in fish and chip shops and less of the dedicateds because they were just going out of fashion, really, and too expensive to make.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Unless they had like unique control system, like you still get dedicated in arcades, don't you? But they're all pretty much gun games and stuff like that need their own cab, if you like.
Yeah. Okay, so what else have you got in your collection now then?
So I've done the arcade up, so got a nice space. I've got 11 cabs in here, and I've been slowly getting my SNES collection back again to where it was. But I'm sort of going for a top 100, my top 100 Super Nintendo games.
And are you buying the American or the UK cartridges?
I don't collect PAL, so it's just Super Famicom and North American.
Okay.
Whatever's cheapest
a reason for that?
Region.
Is there a reason
they run faster.
Okay.
They run faster than the PAL, and you get a bigger screen than the PAL. So and the music. So if you play Sonic on a PAL Mega Drive, the music's all out. Do you know what I mean? So it's all slowed down. It's weird. I don't know how people play PAL games. I really don't.
The question to ask
nowadays, they're back to normal. It was only in that era, really, that sort of like you used to get the differences.
Do you use?
Because the TVs were different. The TVs were different. That's all. Back then, now TVs are universal, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, what were you saying, Stunty?
I was going to say, if you don't play the PAL SNES games, what console are you using? Are you using an American SNES then?
Yeah, I've got an American S1 chip SNES, and I've got a Super Famicom and a Super Famicom Junior.
So how do you get away with the power supply issue then?
Well, you can get little power supplies that go in there. It's got to just put a UK plug on it. That's all. You can buy power supplies anywhere, really.
No, what I'm saying, because it's the American ones. Is it the same as the UK? I mean,
no, it's a different power supply.
I don't mean that. No, I don't mean that. What I mean is on the UK SNES, the power supply is not actually in the unit, and it's just like a normal DC.
You just change that over. That's all.
Oh right, okay. So basically, just change that over, and then you can get it to work on the UK.
Yeah, you don't have to change. You don't have to change the innards or anything like that.
Oh,
you just get a different power supply. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And normally, when you buy a American SNES or something like that, it comes with it anyway. It comes with the power supply.
Right.
You know, just plug it straight in. It's fine.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I just wondered. That's all. I mean, I haven't got an American SNES. I did have. I sold them later.
No, people always ask why do I collect it, because it's not what we had back in the day. Well, it was where I was when the Super Nintendo came out. It came out in Japan first. It came out in Japan a year before it came out in the UK. And if you wanted to get Street Fighter, which we all knew was out there, you'd have to import it. And it was like £100 to get Street Fighter back in the day.
I know.
You know?
I did.
And the shop that I used to go in, they had all the American and Super Family. It was a real mixture. You know, you just didn't know what the guy had in one month to the other. So POW, I don't hold any nostalgia to POW at all. You know, in fact, the box art on the Japanese is better. Obviously, there's a language barrier on a lot of the RPGs, but a lot of the arcade games, which is what I'm into, you don't really need to read it. You know, it's just pretty straightforward what you got to do. Shoot shit.
yeah, pretty much.
Jump over
Yeah.
shit. And a lot of Japanese games have more to it. Like Super Aleste has got, or Space Megaforce has got extra levels. There's a few games out there that are actually better. And, you know, sometimes they're cheaper. They're a lot cheaper. So it makes sense, really. You get a faster game, a bigger picture, a cheaper game, better artwork. It just makes sense. You know, it just...
Yeah, it's weird. I remember one of my friends having a Super Nintendo, and his dad used to go to America a lot, but he had a European SNES, like a UK SNES, but he would get the American games, and there was like an adapter you'd put in the cartridge slot, so you'd have like the English game in the back and the American game in the front, and it would like read off both of them to get the American one to load. I've got one of those universal adapter, because there is some POW exclusives, like Sensible Soccer, right? Yeah,
and Drop Zone was another game that only came out in POW. Archie McLean's Drop Zone, which is quite a good game,
right?
So I've got a few POW games in my collection, and I use that adapter that you're on about just to put in the back.
Okay,
which you can do. I mean, if you've got an American game, you can play it in a POW machine.
Yeah,
you just need that adapter.
Yeah.
You know, and it'll work.
Well, in my opinion, I think the PAL SNES looks a lot better than the ugly American one. That's my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, but you know, for me, it's always about the games than the console. Yeah. I've got, you know, the Super Famicom's similar to the PAL. Super Nintendo. Anyway, so I get that kind of. I've got the two of them set up already. I've always got the two of them set up.
Nice.
So I've got a couple of CRTs in here. They're going up in value. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah,
they're really good.
Do you remember when you couldn't get rid of them for love nor money, and you had to dump them, and now they're like going for silly money because of all these retro collectors. You know, it's nuts.
If you've got one of the great tellies, like you've got yourself a Trinitron or something like that in fantastic nick, then they are going to be highly sought after eventually.
The Trinitrons are the best, Darren. I tell you, I've had the B&Os, the MX 4000.
That's what
I didn't like it. It's definitely duller than the Triniton.
What size Trinitron though?
I remember the Trinitron like through Scott. Just having like this best picture, like.
Yeah, but what size? Well, what size is it? Like a 22?
I'd say
14-inch used to be like the classic go-to for me, because obviously TVs back then went back a lot more than the screen size, pretty much. So it was room that was 14.
What about you, Stunty? You were saying 20 something.
Yeah, 20. I mean, I just picked up another one actually about a month ago. I picked up another CRT Sony. I had to go to Worthing to pick it up. It was £50.
Oh, that's right.
Do you know what actually sickened me once?
Yeah.
When I was in America on one of my first visits, I saw a Sony Trinitron in America, full colour, Scott, and it was like 7 or 8 inch.
Wow, bloody that's tiny.
Tiny. I just remember seeing it because they had like Sonic, one of the Sonics on demo on it or something, and I was like, man, that looks fucking awesome. Because obviously the smaller you make things, the crisper it looked back then, obviously, which is why now we have these giant resolution TVs, because the TVs are bigger.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my mates have got these PVMs, and they're crazy.
What's a PVM?
Money, 800-900. Well, it's like a monitor that the TV companies used to use. So it's like a top-end monitor.
Yeah.
Like they'd look at the picture of what they were filming in their van outside. Do you know what I mean? You've seen it where they're filming.
Yeah. Oh wow.
and a lot of gamers use those, but it costs a lot of money to get them. Then you've got to get all the cables, which cost a lot of money. And my mate brought one over here. I said, you got to bring one over. I want to do a comparison with because I've got two 14-inch Sony Trinitrons and a 21-inch. I want to bring it over. We'll do a comparison. And honestly, you could not tell the difference. This 14-inch Sony Triniton, which I paid 10 quid for about 3 years ago.
Wow!
It's got an amazing picture, and I read up on Sony. They had the patent for this type of telly, the Triniton, for up until 1996, and no one else could copy it.
Oh wow!
And that's why they were dominating that whole era with their tellies for so long.
Oh, yeah.
They lost the patent in 1996, and then everyone could use it, obviously. So then all the other companies caught up and did the same. But there was something with a coil in the back of the tube they were doing that was different, and they patented it so no one else could copy it, and that's why they dominated for so long.
Oh wow!
You know?
I will say the only downside I ever noticed to the Triniton through SCART was occasionally, depending on the set, you'd get a shift. Like the image would slightly shift off the screen a little bit to the left, or it would lean in the corner or something. Yeah, that's just a regular thing from them. Yeah, that was just one of the weird things I always thought. But for picture quality, like when I used to hook my NEOGEO, I used to because at the time I had King of Fighters 94 when it first came out, and Fatal Fury 2 I think was one of the first Neo games I had as well. I had it on the PAL system. But obviously the games, regardless of country, will just work on any system, and it will convert and change the language to said version of the game.
Right.
So I took that up to my mate's house who had the American one, and he stuck it on his Triniton, and I was just like, oh my God, this looks absolutely amazing, because obviously I was still using, I think I was even being a proper bastard. I don't even know if I was using SCART or not with it. And it ran so much faster as well. I really noticed the difference on a lot of the characters' moves.
I don't think I read somewhere that Americans never had SCART. They just had the three colours, that you plugged in: the red, yellow, and whatever.
SVHS.
RGB.
Yeah.
Composite.
My that was the best picture I could get out of. I think my Dreamcast at one point.
Because I think
when
SCART
that came out, there was a couple of games that only worked through SVHS. They wouldn't work through SCART.
Because I think SCART actually produced a better picture, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best picture you can get. Well, you want to get things RGB modded, like your Famicoms and your NES. They're not RGB. You have to get them modded.
Right.
Which I've had my Famicom Twin modded, and the picture on that now is amazing.
It's funny with the Sonys because you always knew when you turned the Sony on because they made their big boom noise. if anyone knows where they're supposed to, it's to demagnetize. That's what it does.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, because I used to work in the TV industry, in that side, I never actually repaired them to going down to component level, but I knew a lot about them. But a lot of people used to get. I don't know if you remember, but on the old TVs, used to go to someone's house and they used to have a red mark in the corner or a green in the corner. And basically, someone's put something that's magnetized, like a speaker, next to the actual TV.
Oh yeah, you'd bleach the colour out of your TV.
No,
you'd fuck the tube. Yeah,
you could bleach the colour out of the tube. So what happened is you used to on the Sonys, they had a thing that was called a demagnetizer. So when it turned on,
Degauser.
That's the word I want.
Yeah.
But you could actually buy. I had a demagnetizer, which is basically it's a. I don't know.
It's like a wand, magic wand.
Yeah, it's like a wand, and you move in. You start very close to telly, and you move outwards in a circle action, and it actually removes the. I used to use them. It used to be funny. Customers used to think, "What the fuck is he doing?"
Well, I have to do that a lot. I have to do that a lot, Paul, because when you move the cabs around, they've all got the old CRT monitors in. They all need degousing. Sometimes you've got a degauser button in the arcade machine. You just press it. It does it automatically.
Oh, weird.
Or if you've moved it, the polarity of the world, you've got north and south, actually makes a difference. So if I move these cabs on the other side, the picture might be slightly different than they are on the other side of the room. And it's just the polarity of the magnetising of the Earth that changes.
Do you have a wand? Do you have a wand then, do you?
I do have a one, mate. Yeah.
The first Trinitron I actually owned was the one I bought off my friend, and that actually came with external speakers I had to plug in because he'd actually removed the internal speaker because it was starting to affect the screen.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
On it because there was I had the older one. It was a very squared off type, and then they started bringing out the curved ones.
If you look in the back, it's got like a metal plate around the neck of the tube, and that is supposed to stop any interference from magnetising and anything else that sits next to it. If it hasn't got that in there, you're going to have a lot of trouble with your telly, you know.
That's just technology, isn't it? Back then, it was like lots of things. It's like you never put tapes on top of the telly, even though people did. You weren't supposed to because it could fuck the tape up.
Well, mate, as a kid, I used to put cheese in the back. Now, you're going to think, what the fuck? My mum used to make me eat cheese, and to this day, I fucking hate cheese. I hate it.
Yeah,
and I remember she said, "Look, if you don't eat your cheese up, you're not getting in trifle." Right? So I got all the cheese and I stuck it in the back of the telly in the grids at the top. I stuffed it all in the back of the telly. No, it all melted, and then of course the TV blew up. And then back then you called the TV repairman. He came round, he opened it back up, and he said, "What's all this cheese doing in here?"
Oh God!
Brilliant.
Thing is, TVs back then weren't great anyway. I mean, I remember our first telly that we rented from one of the rental shops, Ketts, that was it, the company. They were a company down south called rival to Granada and Radio Rentals.
Oh, Radio Rentals. Did you remember going around people's houses and they used to have the coin TVs?
Yeah.
And, like,
no, I'm not that old.
And we'd be sitting there, like, drinking, like, round your mate's house, and then it'd be like, you'd be sitting there watching the telly, and it'd be like, boom. He's like, has anyone got any money?
Yeah,
I used to on the telly. You're like, what?
Yeah, I used to install them for a little bit. I used to do the
TVs.
TVs.
Yeah, bloke used to come around and collect the money and stuff. Yeah.
It's amazing how much we've moved on in such a small space of time. Technology, isn't it? Really,
only in technology. Like when you're looking at like the passing of time, as in like different eras of like say the 1880s to the 1920s to the 60s. Like there's big jumps of like actual human evolution. You can see it.
Yeah.
But I'd say since 1990, I'm not really seeing much difference.
No.
Not in
that
other things like
aesthetic, but it's just more technological level, like mobiles and things like that.
Games,
the internet.
Games, although we've moved a long way graphically, we're still doing the same thing. We're still shooting aliens and fucking jumping platforms and whatnot, aren't we? We're still doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're still using the controller. We're not using just our hands anymore. Yeah.
No.
I mean, you could just.
Well, you will start getting that. I mean, Kinect was going in that direction. It was just I don't think the technology is really fully there yet.
Well, the same with VR.
Microsoft did their usual, moved on, didn't they? They just dumped it, didn't they? So, which is a shame, really, because I thought Kinect was really good. I mean, I had some quite good experiences with my daughter as well growing up. I mean, she played some really great games like Monster. There was a Monster game, Once Upon a Monster. Oh, man, she loved that game. It was really great, but I don't know. One of those things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
But yeah, sorry, going back to what I was talking about the telly. Yeah, you going about the cheese in the back of the telly. I remember one of our tellies. I was sitting watching telly when I was really young, and the TV caught fire.
What? Oh my God!
Yeah, because the TV's back in the. Yeah, well, this was probably late 70s, probably about 78, 79. I mean, I just remember it just caught fire and used to get the guy come round and he goes, "Oh, yeah, we'll have to get you another one."
Oh.
And then you get another telly. Yeah, because they could never fix them because they were quite common.
Well, not after they've caught fire, no.
Well, yeah. So, and then I remember our first ever video record. It was like a big old monster with the big old eject on the top, and it was like this, like a lift.
Remote control on a wire.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, we had the Sony, the C5, and that had a remote with it on a wire. You know, it was quite
Yeah.
far back then. The old Betamax stuff was. My dad loved Betamax. He was a massive Sony fan. He was.
Back the wrong horse.
Well, yeah, but it was always a better picture on the Betamax compared to VHS. Still is.
And then Sony got its revenge, I suppose, with.
Yeah, but VHS
Blu-ray.
only won out because of porn.
Yeah, it's the same with Blu-ray. I think it's whichever porn goes for is generally
yeah.
HD DVD didn't work.
Talking of porn, I had a mate of mine. He found an old Space Invaders cab, right? And listen, this is going somewhere. And it was just unbelievable. It was like, this is just so 80s, because on the bezel someone had inscribed UB40 are cunts. There were flag burns all over the control panel where people had stuck their cigarettes while they were playing the game. And in the back, you opened the back up, and there was a stash of porno mags at the bottom.
Brilliant.
I said to him, you've got to leave it like that. I'm not leaving it like that. I've got to come in the house. It's unbelievable.
I've got a little story, actually. I'm going to have to bring this up while we're on this subject. I picked up a load of videotapes the other week, and there was a big bunch of porn videotapes in there. So there was stuff like big boobs and stuff like that. Now, I forgot, I was working in the garage and I had my camper van out, and I forgot the videotapes I put were in the garage. My neighbour came round and walked through the garage, and he must have seen them sitting there in a pile, big boobs, big birds, and the rest of it. And then after he left, I told the missus, "Oh God, I just realised he walked through the bloody garage twice, and the videotapes are on show. They weren't supposed to be there. They were just left there because they were originally on top of the van, just so they were out of the way, because I've got to go through them and dump them, whatever I'm going to do with them." And she goes, "Oh, he probably thinks you're a right perv."
Well, he's not wrong, though, is he?
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
Don't
see them anymore.
Well, so one of the things, but before the days of the internet, it was always a good day when you found a stash of porno mags in the woods.
Yeah, it was always at the edge of a golf course, wasn't it? And
Well, when we were really young, where I lived, we used to go across. Well, we used to have to go underneath a railway bridge. There was like a tunnel, and that'd take you into the golf course. And we used to build like dens, proper dens, huts. And I remember we built one of these dens on the golf course. And the other thing is, used to go over the golf course, run across, grab the ball, and then run off. And then used to sell them back to the golfers. Not the same day, I must admit. And I remember many a times used to go down to the den, and someone had been down there that we didn't know who it was, and they left a load of porno mags in there. It was just a common occurrence down there. You used to just, all of you sitting there, you're all about 14, just, look at this one, eh? And then it always used to come on, and you never really pay much attention that why were the pages stuck together?
Or why were the pages scattered about? Like in the night, if you found them in the woods or whatever, you'd be like, did someone just come and rip it apart like Hulk or something?
They probably pinned them on the trees so you could get an all-round 360. Look at all the pages.
Yeah, but I don't know. Things back in the day, the kids today will never enjoy.
Well, that's it, mate. Yeah,
that's just easy access on the phones now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to games. So, have we missed out on any of your arcade cabs there, Alex?
No, I see. I think we've mentioned them all, haven't we? It's all there. Yeah,
that's pretty decent, man.
Yeah,
I mean, your new game room is looking really nice, actually. As I say, I've seen the videos.
Pop over, mate.
I will do, mate. Yeah, will do. It'll be a good time, I think.
Yeah, well, what I might do is do a little mini meet, so invite all of you over. All come down, do a barbecue or something.
Whereabouts you living now?
I'm in between Oxford and Swindon.
No, you're not.
It's a place place called Farringdon.
Right, okay.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Unless it's just because there's a place in London called Farringdon Lane, which there may
Yeah.
well be, and that's what I'm
There
getting
is.
confused with. Yeah.
That's double R. This is 1R Farringdon. Yeah, it's not. I'm in the countryside. I'm right near the sort of White Horse Valley, which is like where the Ridgeway is, one of the oldest footpaths in Britain. I was up there today, actually, just having a nice walk, and yeah, it's lovely. It is lovely.
So the question to ask: have you been to the car boots up that way?
I was going to go this morning, Paul, and the van wasn't working right. I don't know, something wrong with the injectors. It was struggling. The power kept dropping in and out. So I thought I can't risk it. But yeah, I was going to go this morning, mate. There's two. There's one at Abingdon. And there's another one close to it at Whitney as well.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't been for years, mate. But I wanted to go this morning. Funny enough, you say that.
Be interested to see what it's like, because I've noticed that even where I live now is different to when I used to do Guildford and stuff. Because I mean, Guildford was ruthless.
Yeah.
But it's still ruthless down here, but it's not as. It's not got the London people here. It's not as bad.
Yeah.
But I have noticed more people are hunting. I mean, the Nintendo stuff now. Everyone knows the Nintendo stuff now. So if someone puts a Nintendo game on the table of any variety of, it's just gone. You know,
It's gone.
Those days have gone where you just walk around a car boot and you see Nintendo 64 games. You know, it doesn't happen. You don't even see Wii games, and if they're on the table, someone just buys the lot, even if they're shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's just weird.
Well, when we were doing it, Paul, they were the last good days, I reckon, of car boots. And then when it started getting, remember those two twins that used to turn up with walkie-talkies, and they'd make out that they were selling. So they'd make out they were selling, so they'd get in there before the buyers, and then they'd drive their car in as if they were about to sell, and they didn't open up the car. They'd walk around the whole car boot before anyone got in there. One at one end and one at the other with walkie-talkies, and both of them let know the other where the games were, and it just got too competitive, you know, too argy-bargy, and I just thought, you know, I don't come out on a Sunday morning to do this. I really don't. And you were struggling to get games as it was, you know, let alone fucking start getting in a fight with someone.
Yeah.
And now I just can't. You know, I go not just to pick up games, I just to go for a walk round and get out the house in the morning. Really, if I find something, it's a bonus. If I don't, you know, I've got up and had a bit of exercise. That's the way I see it. But most of the games now, I just find on eBay. You know, I get lucky on eBay. I've had some bargains on there recently. You know, but yeah, it's just a lot different now.
Yeah, you do get the odd thing now and again. I mean, I got not last weekend, the weekend before, I got a Vita for 20 quid.
Nice.
Oh wow!
Wow!
Yeah,
that's a bargain.
Really
is it
bizarre.
Gen 1 or the second
Gen 1.
one?
No, it's no LED.
Oh, the OLED. It's the OLED.
Wow.
Yeah, the bizarre thing is the guy. I've dealt with this guy over the years. He's a dealer. I've had a few years off him over the years. I got a. What have I had off him recently? I had a Commodore +4 off him for a tenner. I got one of them off him. So he's quite cheap on certain stuff. And then he sort of realises what some stuff's like. He had a ZX80 the other week, and he was like, how much is that? He goes, oh, it's 150. I was like, fucking hell. And then I looked it up on eBay, and they are about £400 ZX80s.
Fucking hell.
So it's still cheap anyway, but I'm not paying £150 for a ZX80.
No. Well, you'll like my next pickup, Paul, because, well, someone else picked it up for me. I don't know if you watch Duty UK on YouTube.
Yeah, I watched Duty,
He's got a massive collection, isn't he? Absolutely huge. He does the car boots, always does the car boots. And he went to CEX last week, messaged me. He said, Alex, there's free Game & Watches in here.
Bloody
and I thought,
hell.
they're going to be expensive. He said, yeah, but these are mint. And it worked out they were 120 quid each, right? And there was 4 of them. And I said, well, just send me the pictures. I want to see what the pictures are like first. So he sent me a load of pictures, and they were fucking mint, honestly. And for 120 quid, I said, just get the lot. Just buy the whole lot. I'll flip 2 of them, and I'll keep the other, because I'm trying to get a little Donkey Kong Game & Watch collection going on. I'm not going to collect any more because it's so expensive. But he got Gold Cliff out of there, Safe Busters, Donkey Kong 2, and the original Donkey Kong. All boxed with the manuals and the baggies in amazing condition, 120 quid each. You go on eBay, they're 3 times that. So
you know,
that was
I found
CES.
4 in the last 3 weeks now, don't you?
Yeah, I heard your podcast. Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah,
That,
well,
wasn't it?
I found one this week in a
Oh,
charity
did you?
shop.
Oh, blinding!
Yeah, I
That's
found
awesome.
Parachute.
Oh, yeah, I remember Parachute. That was the one I
Yeah,
had back in the day.
yeah, I got it for 20 quid in a charity shop, and I thought, well, all right, it's 20 quid, but it's still. I looked them on eBay; they're about £80 now.
Yeah,
But that's for me. I'll keep that because I've got quite a lot of the. To be honest, I'm not really sure which ones I don't have now because I've got, well, apart from the real rare ones like the crystal ones. But yeah,
I nearly had a complete collection about 10 years ago. I was collecting them, but I sold them all. I mean, God, what I thought was a lot back then, like tripled since then. But, at the time, I thought I did well out of them, and it bought me a cab at the time, so I was happy. But I wouldn't get into collecting them now, especially not boxed, too expensive.
Going back to the Vita thing though, which was really bizarre. Before we move on, is basically the guy I deal with all the time, and I was actually looking at on the floor. He just had some video games on the floor, and I picked up. It was actually really bizarre. There was an Atari game, DS game, Atari game. It had all like Centipede and stuff like that, and I was looking at that. I thought, ooh, I didn't know they did this on the DS, and I picked that up, and he said, "I'll cut the quid for that." So I thought, "Wow, great!" And then as I looked up, there was an Indian guy next to me, and he was zipping something open. I thought, "What the fuck's that he's got in that there?" And it was a Vita. I was like, "Oh my god, he's just picked up a Vita." And he got it out, and he was having a look at it all and the rest of it, and it was like, and then he put his finger on the screen, like there was a mark on the screen and stuff, and he goes, "Well, how much is that?" He goes, "Oh, it's 18 quid." I was like, and then I thought, "Oh my god, he's getting a Vita for 18 fucking quid." And he zipped it back up and put it back on the table and walked off.
Oh,
straight in there, grabbed it, opened it up, quickly looked at it just to see if it was cracked or, because I didn't care if it didn't work because they're worth 50 quid unworking now, Vitas.
Wow.
And he said, 18 quid. So I took it. It was only when I got home I actually realised it actually had 3 cartridges with it as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it had Assassin's Creed, which I already own, so I'll probably flog that on. And
Liberation, is it?
Yeah, Liberation. It had Call of Duty game, which I haven't actually got that one. And then the other game, can't remember what the other game was, which I already owned anyway. And it also even had a memory card with it.
Oh, nice.
Inside, it had a 16 gig.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, the 16 gig. Yeah, the 16. It is a 16 gig. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
You wouldn't have even been able to pick up the memory card for that price back then. Like.
No. So the only thing I did when I got home is I was going to flog it on, but the trouble is I know what I'm like. I'm terrible. I fired it up, and it actually had games all installed on it as well.
Oh, nice.
But that's on someone's profile. But the problem is the games I've already got. There was like Killzone and stuff like that. So what I'd done is I fired it up, because I've got loads of power leads of my own. Tested it, works fine. The only problem is though, I think the battery's better than my own ones, so I might actually end up keeping it. So now I've got 4 of them now.
Bloody hell.
That's what worries me when you sell something on like a Switch or everything, and you haven't reset it. Can someone just go into your account then because your profile's still on the Switch?
Yeah, that's why you should always factory. You should always factory reset, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that before.
They can go in and buy more games, can't they? Basically?
No, because they will need a unless you've put it password unlocked, then yes, they could.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, I picked up a Wii the other week. And that had someone's profile and a load of games on it. But I did notice they put a parent lock on it, which on the Wii's is actually quite good to get rid of the parent lock because it's quite easy.
Yeah.
You can just generate a code. But I did actually pick up a Wii U the other week as well, and that had a parent lock on it as well. And I couldn't get rid of the fucking parent lock. So
I sold all my Wii U stuff.
You're mad because that stuff's going to go crazy money in a few years.
Oh no, but
it already is. Yeah,
I know there's a lot of collectors out there collecting it, trying to get complete collections. But I just not. I don't collect for the sake of collecting, though, Paul.
No, I know you don't.
Do you know what I mean? I don't. I like game because I don't have a lot of room. I might have a big arcade here. You might say, yeah, he's got shitloads of room, but I don't for a lot of console games. So I have to be quite selective of what games I have. And they're usually the games that I go back to and play. They're the ones because I am a player. I do like to play as well as collect.
He's a player.
But I mean, I am the same. I am the same as you. I do collect to play, but I do also collect certain stuff which I know I mean, because I do a lot of cards, I do keep stuff and
for investment down the line.
Yeah, investment. Yeah. I mean, there's stuff like Finding Teddy. I mean, that game I bought for 20 quid. We're up to 200 quid on that now because it's sealed.
Wow, that's insane.
I can't believe I sold Shantae Pirate's Curse on the 3DS, I don't know, 2 years ago for about a tenner. And that
was it a limited run?
No, not on the 3DS it wasn't, but on the Switch it is. And now on the Switch it goes for about 400.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And on the 3DS, it goes for about 120, 150.
Wow, that's insane.
It's just certain stuff's gone crazy. I mean, I'm still after. I had a copy and I sold it as a fucking idiot. I had Fire Emblem on the GameCube, and I sold that for 60 quid. I regret to this day selling that because that's a £200 game now.
Wow.
It's like, and it's just like it's annoying because there's certain stuff that you want to collect to play. I mean, I want to play the Fire Emblem game. I'm not buying it for an investment. I'm buying it because I want to play it. But it's now got to stage on certain stuff that I'm going to have to either sell a load of stuff to pay for it, or I just won't ever play it. And that's probably what will happen.
Or you just pirate it, and then certainly where you can play it.
I don't know if you can do that on the GameCube. I don't know if there's a way of, let's play it on PC, but it's not the same. You like to play it on the original hardware.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're like,
I think having a lot of, because this question comes up a lot, you know, people that have these huge collections and complete collections of stuff and of Wii U games and stuff. I find that a little bit overwhelming, or I would do personally. It's only me. I've got nothing against people going for complete collections and stuff. I think it's fun. But for me, having all those games that a lot of them are shit shovelware games, just for the sake of saying I've got a complete collection, I'd find that overwhelming.
But there's people on the Wii U that collect sealed games. They have a whole complete collection sealed. And they never want to play it. So I mean, I've probably got a few PS4 games that are sealed, but it's only because I've bought them and I haven't played them yet. But anything that's sealed, I will not keep. I mean, I had a copy of Mafia I found on the PS2. Now, I didn't actually own that game. This is before they bought the remaster, and I thought, I really want to play that. But I thought, I don't want to open that copy because that copy is worth a lot of money. And what did I do? I flopped it on and bought a copy on eBay for £3. And I sold that copy and I sold that for £100 because it was sealed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's the way to do it, isn't it, really? But it's just...
Yeah, games are there to be played, man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
You know, that's what they were made for. Even with, like, the cabs and stuff, people... I know collectors just keep it all hidden away, all locked up. I just what's the point? They were actually made to go in an arcade for people to play.
Yeah.
And if they're not there, that they should be at least in your home being played. I just don't see the point of it. They are social things that people played, part of our social history in the 80s. That's what we all did as kids. And that's why I like going to events like Revival. I take my cabs there and I love seeing people playing them. And when their eyes open up, God, I remember that when I was a kid. I haven't played that for 40 years, like, because I've been there. I know what it's like. It's an amazing feeling, you know.
I noticed that they're doing a lot more of these sort of retro cabs now, because I went to Comic-Con, it was in Portsmouth the other week, and I remember going there a couple of years ago now, all the Vectrex and all those kind of things, you know, game consoles, SNESes and stuff. This year, they actually had no home computers, and all they had was these new retro cabs. And I'll be honest,
they're not the arcade one-up cabs, are they?
I don't know. They had stuff like Centipede, and there was Mortal Kombat.
Arcade one-ups, mate.
Oh, they're awful quality.
They're not very good quality, are they?
It's cheap Chinese shit, and they're way overpriced. You know,
I don't know how much are they to buy.
They're like 600 quid. Yeah, 400 to 600.
Really? There's one in particular. Remember the original Star Wars Vector game that came out in the arcade? They made one of those. They are now selling on eBay for over £1,000.
That's silly.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
That's mental.
I mean, it's just crappy MDF with an LCD screening. But what makes it different than the others? It's got its unique controls. It's got that yoke controller.
Yeah.
You can't get anywhere else. So people still think that that's the nearest you're going to get to the arcade experience is owning that one-up cab. And that's why they've gone up through the roof. I just find it madness that it's just cheap MDF crap. You know.
But they had loads of this thing. They had probably about 16 of them.
They've got loads of different ones, yeah.
Yeah, they were all different. I mean, I ended up playing Centipede with my daughter. I mean, only because of the game, but it was with the roller wheel, so that was quite cool. I like that. But the actual graphics were a bit iffy, and I thought for what it is, I mean, on a CRT that would look really clear.
Yeah, it's because these are really shit LCD screens on those things.
I was trying to show my daughter how to play it because she got arsey. Don't know the way this moves because she's never used a roller wheel, is she? Because you think they've never, they just use controllers. They don't use a wheel. Sort of sort of mouse thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So is that your section done, Alex? Anything else you wanted to mention?
Yeah, that was a long section, but yeah,
almost an hour. All right. So what about you, Stunty? You haven't been on for a while. I know you've not been playing much. You've been doing a lot of car booting and various other things, right? To listen to the rest of this week's awesome episode, which stretches out at just over 2.5 hours long, you need to subscribe to the Patreon by heading over to patreon.com/360gamercast. From as little as £5 a month, you can listen to an episode every single week of the year. If you sign up for a year in one go, you get a 10% discount. Do not miss out on this epic episode where we skip back to Alex and he talks about all the retro games he has been playing. Stunty talks about some epic car boot stories, and Webby discusses all the latest games that he has been playing, including the awesome We Were Here Forever and Chernobylite. Again, subscribe to the Patreon at patreon.com/360gamercast. £5 a month, it's not a lot of money for all this awesome content that will be pumped straight into your ear holes. It's easy to do. Again, patreon.com/360gamercast. Be there or be square.